Folks, uncertainty will ruin your sale. I'll explain what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for the Peel and Durham regions for week ending August 20th, 2025. If you want to speak directly with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Below this video, in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Not long ago, representing a buyer, we put an offer on a property. We received a counter offer. Now there's a few changes there. Price was a bit different than what we were trying to buy the home at. However, the big problem was a clause that the seller side had inserted into Schedule A. And the clause basically stated that the closing date that's written in the agreement, if the home does not get released by the courts in time, then that closing date's not going to happen, and the sellers can move the closing date basically up to 3 months later. Basically, what had happened was the home was involved in some sort of legal issue, or there was a crime committed, let me say that, and the home it was part of an investigation, and it needed to be released by the courts. We didn't know this up front. Nobody, the seller, the agent didn't inform me of any of this stuff. This was a problem for my client. My client's looking to buy a property. We put a closing date that works for my client. Now there's some flexibility there, but a matter of weeks, not a matter of potentially months. We had sold my client's property. Now we're looking to buy and to align the closing date. If my client can't close on that date, they're either going to be homeless, have to find a hotel, have to try to stay with family, all of which there's no need. My client, if we can just buy a property and close, everything would work out for my client. So this was not a suitable situation for my client. And there's a ton of buyers out there this would not be a suitable situation for. And those buyers that are okay with closing whenever, I could almost guarantee that they'd be looking to buy that property for a little bit less. Now, ours happened to be a crime situation. There's a lot of other situations out there that are perfectly part of regular everyday transactions that also kind of cannot close on the day. For example, if it's an estate sale, the home's not gone through probate yet, you can buy it today, but there'll be a clause saying, hey, listen, if probate does not come in on time and we can't change ownership, then closing date is going to be adjusted. There's other situations where this may be part of the deal. So first of all, it's important to know that and understand that. But if you're a seller and you're selling in this situation, you should also be aware that if you're selling and you can't give a firm closing date, there's a good chance those buyers that are prepared to buy that are also compensating with buying it at a lower price. You may be selling your home lower than you should because you didn't wait to clear everything up so you can sell the home with a proper, solid closing date. And that's what I want to leave you with here today. If you're in a situation that the home's got to go through probate or whatever else the case may be, that you can't commit to a closing date, I would clear up all those situations first and make sure when you put your home on the market, that aspect of a floating closing date, maybe we can close, maybe we can't, is just totally eliminated from the equation. Give them for closing date, and you'll find you'll get buyers that are serious about buying and closing on that date. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. And if you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. Now, let's get into the numbers.
Hi everyone, my name's Daniel. My dad will be back next week, but I wanted to run you through the numbers for Peel and Durham for week ending August 20th, 2025. We're talking about detached homes here. So Mississauga, Brampton, Durham, you can see the difference in average prices for the past few weeks here. Let's get into Mississauga. So Mississauga had 35 sales of detached homes last week. 5 of those came in at $2 million or more. And the average sold price is sitting at $1,463,000. So 1,463 is only 1% higher than where we were at the same time last year. You can see here median is blue, average price is orange. Median price is currently sitting at $1,280,000, and that is down 6% from where we were this time last year. So sales, out of the 35 sales, 23% of them were sold at list price or more. Listings, we currently have 931 detached homes available for sale in Mississauga. 128 new listings were put up for week ending August 20th. So you can see here we're at 6.1 months of inventory. That puts us pretty well into a buyer's market. Average days on market is currently sitting at 29. So here for Brampton, we had 48 sales. One of those sales was sold at $2 million or more. And you can see the average sold price is sitting at $1,090,000. That $1,090,000, 3% lower than where we were last year at this time. Median price, you can see here in the blue, currently sitting at $1,024,000, and that's down 4% from the same time last year. Sales, 15% of the properties sold last week sold at list price or more. We have 1,390 active listings for sale, detached homes only in Brampton, and 183 new listings came up for week ending August 20th. Now, months of inventory is currently sitting at 6.7, so well into a buyer's market. Average days on market for listings is 28. Now, Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby. Pickering, Ajax, and Whitby is currently sitting at an average price that is lower than anything we've seen for the past year. It's at $963,000, 37 sales. None of them were at $2 million or more. And that 963 is 15% lower than where we were this time last year. Now, median price currently sitting at $930,000, and that's 14% lower than where we were this time last year. Now, sales sold at list price or more is currently 22%, and listings is currently sitting at 710 active listings with 116 new listings put up for just the week ending August 20th. Now, months of inventory, pretty comfortably into a balanced market here at 4.4 months of inventory. The average days on market is currently sitting at 29. And here we have a breakdown, all the months of inventory. The arrows indicate where it's moved from last week's numbers. So as you can see, Mississauga, Brampton, both those months of inventory came down. Ajax, Pickering, and Whitby, months of inventory went up. And for condos, we also included it here, months of inventory has come down. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again soon.